you want to offer privilege of the floor?
Pardon?
You wanted to offer privilege of the floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Privilege of the floor, so...
I think Dr. Morrison is asking for a privilege of the floor. If anyone would like to make a comment, I guess you're welcome to. Ms. Bramer.
Thank you. I'm Supervisor Bramer from Glen Falls in the 3rd Ward, and I have been to one other of these meetings a couple years ago. I'm interested to see what's going on, but I know that we were getting ready to appoint some new members to the board, so I'm curious why the board isn't waiting, if you're willing to address that question, why the board isn't waiting until we have the new members appointed.
To do what? I'm sorry.
New members to the ethics board.
Yes.
At our last personnel meeting, they took suggestions for new people, because it was my understanding that the ethics board did not have enough to have a quorum, but I guess 3 is a quorum.
Yes, quorum, but that doesn't mean we do want to add people to this board, so that will happen.
Okay. Thank you.
How do you want to proceed then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd be happy to go first. Is that
That's fine,
correct?
sure.
Okay. One of the issues that I think is very, very important in the society, the country we live in, is the integrity and the credibility of elections. And our recent election in Queensbury, I think, brought us to a point in time where we basically have a situation where I believe there were significant violations to established law, as well as the Sheriff's Code 085 regarding political activities as it relates to elections. There is long established New York State law, probably over 100 years old, that talks to the issues and the limitation as it relates to law enforcement, police involvement in our elections. I believe that in the last election between candidate Sieber and candidate Stroud, that our Sheriff's Department went above and beyond the normal course of what is long established permitted activity as it relates to involvement in elections. The sheriff in 2012 put together a very well-documented and good document. It's the document that I have in my hand. It's document 085, in which he came forward and he established for his members of the Warren County Sheriff's Patrol, what is permitted and what is prohibited as it relates to the type of activity in an election. And to give you some examples of what is prohibited in elections, according to the sheriff's own rules and regulations, it would be identifying yourself, obviously, wearing an insignia, identifying yourself as a member of law enforcement. Getting involved in an elections is a no-no. Threatening or attempting to unduly influence members of the voting public, is against his own 085 rules and regulations. Again, long-established law in the state of New York, going Justice Brandeis 100 years ago, talked to these issues. So it's nothing new, and I think members of the Sheriff's Department went above and beyond in the last election. I put together, for your review, to some issues as it relates to the last election. I put together a package of rules, regulations, and photographs of members of the Warren County Sheriff's Department as it relates to their involvement in the last election. The first exhibit that I have here is a photograph, and this is a photograph that was in the Post-Star. This is Officer Conine, candidate Sieber, and the ironic part of this photograph here is this has taken place in the office of the Warren County Board of Elections. Clearly, in this photograph, you can see Officer Conine, who is in attendance here today, with a big, bold insignia indicating that he's a member of the Warren County Sheriff's Patrol. That's against the rules. It's not only against the rules, it is considered by some people to be against the law, rising to the level of a misdemeanor. The second issue, it relates to fundraising as it relates to members of law enforcement. There's a photograph here of our sheriff, of candidate Sieber, Sheriff's Officer Conine, and candidate Sieber at a fundraising event at Sunnyside last summer. Again, some distinct prohibitions as it relates to that. Another exhibit, which I'll be happy to provide to all of you, is the sheriff's placing on Conservative Party members, their residences, this document. Basically, a handwritten note asking them to please vote for candidate Sieber. Exhibit E in the package is a document notarized by Under Sheriff Sean Lamory, basically stamping the document with his notarized stamp, and basically asking people, or certifying that certain people on this list have the legal right to endorse the following members, on this list. Exhibit F is Under Sheriff Lamory, candidate Sieber, and candidates Conine at a fundraising event in November in 2017. This is a strategy session with Mr. Lamory at a fundraising event at a strategy session during the campaign in Queensbury. Some additional issues within the package are examples of Facebook listings, the utilization of electronic mail in terms of endorsing a particular candidate. One of the last exhibits in the package is a photograph of Sheriff York, and he indicates in his video that he is at every fundraiser for Rachel. So the issues that I think, the last exhibit in the package is a poll watcher's certificate signed by indicating that Kevin Conine, a member of the Warren County Republican Party, attended as a poll watcher the Conservative primary in Queensbury, as well as the general election. I would argue that this is a misdemeanor, that it is against the law. The basic philosophy of this country is that we have to preserve the integrity of elections in this country. What separates us from a third world country is that we believe in elections, we're careful with our elections, and we do not permit law enforcement based on long established law and tradition to get terribly involved, closely involved in that entire process. Again, it's against the law, okay? So that really is the intent. I think we have to, the spirit of the law, the intent of the law has got to be preserved, or we might as well live in China, or we might as well live in Russia. Elections are important. Credibility of elections are important, and I would ask this board to seriously consider what I put together in my package. In addition, I have written a letter to the New York State Board of Elections in Albany, to their council, to their enforcement section, to begin an investigation to see if law has indeed been broken. In addition to that, I would suggest, as an alternative to that, as an addition to that, that we ask the New York State Police to conduct an investigation, to get involved in this issue, to make a judgment, to make a determination if laws have indeed been broken. So, I apologize in a way for presenting maybe such a serious topic on a Thursday morning, but I think it's a serious topic and worthy of serious discussion. Any questions?
You're saying basically that there's no prohibition of them participating in this as private citizens, as long as they're not identified with a particular organization or agency.
I would say the way I read, if you read the sheriff's, and I'm going to leave you copies of this, Doctor, if you read his 085, that is indeed not the case. They without his clear-cut written permission, they really cannot get involved. Okay, Bud runs a pretty strict house, and I would anticipate that he would indeed write rules like this, because we should have rules. Your question is, I guess maybe what is permitted in terms of their activity, and to be very candid with you, I'm not sure what's permitted. Because these rules clearly are not enforced, so I don't know.
The Supreme Court is not allowed to be involved in politicking at all. Okay, so how far does an agency allow private elections or their own personal political views, as long as they're not using their office to try to? And you say if they were there even without the insignia, it was wrong?
I can maybe read some prohibitions right out of the Sheriff's Bible, so to speak. No member shall use their name or insignia, their rank or title or position for political activities at any time. No member shall use any equipment, supplies, or vehicles. No member shall serve as a member, honorary member, officer, or other person on a campaign committee. Can't carry or possess materials related to politicking. Can't distribute, attach any political materials on any of your vehicles. So there's a full gamut, I think, of prohibitions that have been established, and I would argue if you look at these member prohibitions, you'll come to the conclusion that I have, is that they've clearly violated these prohibitions.
At these meetings, would they have known that they were members of the Sheriff's Department, the people in attendance?
I guess I would say that we live in a small community. We all know who we are and who we're not. So I think people do. The reality is that people know who members. We know who the sheriff is. We know who the undersheriff is. We know who our officers are. So it's I would suggest to you that it is what it is. People know when someone comes and knocking on your door on an afternoon and they're out politicking, and you know that this is the undersheriff or an investigator with the Warren County Sheriff's Department.
Any other?
I forgot to say that Rachel's my wife.
Sorry?
Rachel Seaver is my wife. I'm Kevin Kine. She's been before Dr. Tedesco, my doctor for 25 years. The sheriff allows his members to be regular citizens when they're not. The one picture he has of me
Anyone else want to?
Mr. McDevitt failed to add to his the comments on his packet that I'm named in there several times. I'm Chris Hatton, I'm an investigator with the Sheriff's Office. The claims against me are totally false, baseless. I don't know where his reported information came from, but I'm a bit offended that I was named in there. A bit surprised. I've been friends with Rachel Seaver for, I don't know how long I've known you guys, forever. So I did support her in her candidacy for the supervisory position. I did not actively campaign on duty. I did not actively campaign for her office. I did support her. So, and the sheriff was very aware of it, and the several of the meetings we were at together. So there was no violations that he was aware of, none that I'm aware of. And again, I'd like to, Mr. McDevitt, you could tell me where that reported information about me going to conservative members' doors and pinning these letters. I'd like to know who reported that.
Yeah.
You're the only one that...
You said it was reported several times. You named me in there. Who reported it?
Okay, I'd like to answer that by saying that if there are rules and regulations of the game.
I'm asking you a simple question. Who
Okay,
reported?
I'm going to answer a simple question.
Okay.
There's a photograph of you here, Officer Hatton, basically on Facebook, endorsing Ms. Seaver in the election. Okay?
What did I say?
Basically...
It was a video. What did I say on that video?
I don't know.
Do you know?
I don't
Oh, you
know.
don't know. You just have a picture of me at a meeting.
Picture, yes.
Yep.
Well, what did you say?
I said that I look forward to Rachel being our next supervisor. She has fresh blood that will bring new life to the town of Queensbury. That's what I said.
Mhm.
I didn't solicit any funds.
Yeah.
I didn't solicit anything else for her campaign. I made a comment on Rachel Seaver and the integrity that I know she shares and would have shared with the community.
And I would argue to you that that's in violation of the sheriff's regulations.
Well, you can argue that. I want to know who reported me bringing these signed letters by Sheriff York, allegedly signed by Sheriff York, on these doors of these Conservative Party members. Who reported that to you? You said in three instances, you named me in that report, that it was reported that I pinned these on doors. Who reported that to you?
I'm basically going to, again, defer to the sheriff's rules and regulations.
No, I'm asking you who reported
Well-
it. That's hearsay. Who reported it? 'Cause I never did that.
Yes, yes.
I never went out and did any of those things.
That's fine. I'm not going to answer that question.
Well, you can't answer it because I didn't do it.
Okay. That's your position.
It's not a position, it's a fact. I want to know who reported it. That's it. I want to know, I feel there's some due process when an ethics report is made against a member of the sheriff's office. And I'm asking who my accusers are.
Yeah, I would ask you to read.
I've read it. I've read it several times. I've read my whole manual. I know what it says.
And I would ask you, did you get written permission from the sheriff to get involved in this election?
I didn't have to get written permission because I wasn't involved in the election as a member of the sheriff's office. I was a supporter of Rachel Seaver as a member of the
You don't
community.
consider Facebook comments to be involved or not involved in the election?
What is the section you said that I violated there? Why don't you read the section of the violation? And we'll determine whether or not that was a violation.
Well, I think we live in an era where...
No, read what I violated,
Okay,
please.
just help me make a decision.
Yeah.
If it is, you can allow it to continue, but if it's not, I don't think it's the proper...
Can I just add something? All these allegations that you say is a violation of sheriff's. The ethics committee is here to determine if there's any conflicts, not rule violations. If you want to run for sheriff and tell us we'll have to do our job or something else, it has nothing to do with the Fourth Amendment.
I totally disagree with that. This is an ethical issue. The credibility of elections is an ethical issue.
The purpose of the ethics board is to determine conflicts. I was the chairman of the Queensbury Ethics Board. I know it is.
We all can read, okay? Yep.
So can I.
Anyone else? I think maybe we could go on.
you're going to have to vote on executive session to discuss discipline of a particular person. You need a majority of the members to vote for it.
Okay, we'd like to go into executive session.
Yeah. Just, do you want to invite the supervisors to stay, or do you want them to leave as well?
Well, what do you think is appropriate? I think...
Here's the board. So the board is out of executive session. They did not take any action in executive session. The board would like to render some decisions and make them public. The first decision that they will render is in regards to Supervisor McDivitt's complaint.
The County Board of Ethics is only authorized to render advisory opinions with respect to the Article 18 of the General Municipal Law and the Warren County Code of Ethics. Therefore, we don't feel that we have the authority to review the complaint against the Warren County Sheriff's Office. The decision may rest with a higher authority.
The second complaint that was brought to the Ethics Board attention was by Matt Filko himself, who asked them to issue an advisory opinion about whether or not he had a conflict of interest when he voted in favor of Resolution 133 of 2018.
After review of the Warren County Ethics and Disclosure Law and the opinion rendered by the Warren County Attorney dated March 28, 2018, we agree with the opinion rendered by the County Attorney that there was no conflict of interest when Supervisor Stokoe voted in favor of the Resolution number 133 of 2018. However, in the future, in abundance of caution, we recommend that Supervisor Stokoe abstain from any votes related to funding of the Regional Planning Board.
And the final complaint were allegations against Gail Seaman. There were different allegations regarding conduct at town board meetings and some allegations regarding discussions that were had on social media.
Regarding the complaint moved against Gail Seaman, we do not feel we have the authority to review this complaint. The Warren County Ethics and Disclosure Law only applies to officers, employees of Warren County, and Mrs. Seaman is neither. Okay.
And
So meeting adjourned.
you need to vote to adjourn.
Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make them.
Okay.
May I just say something to the board? I want to thank you for the courtesies extended. I think you have an extremely useful and positive function as it relates to these issues. So thank you for your involvement and your ability to, just do the right thing. So.
Are you on the board of Washington, D.C.?
We can do that.
We can do it.
Thank you.